Okay, welcome back. So we finished the cylinder. In part 2, we're going to create the front of the revolver body, and that's going to require a number of steps to shape and refine things to get what we want. What we want to do is hide that. So let's go spacebar B. Spacebar B to go back to this sort of front view. And we want to focus sort of on this area right here. Our goal in this is going to be to build this shape here in such a way that it can extrude out into the barrel and some of the other details that are there. So we're going to build it in a very specific way so that these other details are respected. So the first thing we need, therefore, is we want to get that circle there. So we're going to go to the Create, and there is a circle, and we're going to press Enter to place it at the origin. And W, just so we can see. Now, right now, this is not what we want exactly, so we're going to dive in, and we're going to do a uniform scale of 0.0375. And that basically puts it the size that we need. And then we're going to go here, and we're going to go 0.775. And that isn't what we want. We want 0.075, and that puts it right there. And for divisions, we're going to leave it at 12. Now, this is probably, that looks like it's a little bit high. There we go, and maybe 3.7. There we go. So we could certainly use these handles to sort of do it interactively, but just tweaking the numbers gets us sort of what we want there. Now we could also use a different. Let's use a different one here. Wireframe Ghost. Well, that's not really affecting it right now, but that will probably affect it a little bit as we move forward. So we want to go C, Model, Polygons, PolyExtrude, and we're going to do an inset. So we're going to select this, press Enter, and we're going to do an inset of negative 0.032. And that brings it out to there, and maybe we want to go to 1. Maybe there. Anyway, we could do that. And we're going to set divisions to 2. And in this case here, we're going to output the side, but we are not going to output the front. So that gets rid of the circle in there. And if we press W now, let's go to Smooth Wired Shaded, you'll see that's sort of what we're getting. And that's sort of our goal right there. Now there is some overlap between these shapes and these shapes, but we'll deal with that a little bit later. Okay, so we've got the first one. So if we go to the object level, we've got this first sort of circle object here. Okay, let's take this. We're going to Alt drag this to get a second circle. And we're going to dive in. This second circle is going to, let's put it in a new place. So the circle is going to be at negative 0.6, 0.17, and 0. And I have a funny feeling that's 0.6. There we go. That puts that centered there. So we could have just moved it, but we're trying to get it centered around there. Now we're going to do less divisions. So we're only going to have 8 divisions. And we are going to rotate it around Z 24 degrees. So that way we've got the flat there, and we've got 8. Now uniform scale, let's change that, 0.175. And that will get that there. So you see how these are sort of lining up with the circle here is lining up with the circle there, and we'll take advantage of that. Now, if we go to the PolyExtrude node, we're going to do the inset to 0.175, and that will make that smaller as well. So we were able to take the first circle and make the second circle, and then we'll get those working together. If we go up to the object level, let's drag that one down. So we'll do the first one again. And we go to the circle node. And of course, like I said, we could drag this down to there. And that will give us approximately, maybe go 1. Okay, so that got us in the ballpark. The initial scale on this, we're going to change to 0.12, which makes it the size of that. And we're going to go 6 divisions. And rotate Z, we're going to go 30, which will make a little more sense. There we go. That does that job there. And then we need to go to the PolyExtrude and 0.19. There we go. So we've set up these shapes. Now, why are we using these circles here? Because they give us a nice even distribution of everything around here. So that gives us a great place to start. We don't want to be trying to draw by hand and get everything divided properly around a circle and so on. By using these shapes and getting them in the right place, we are doing the job that we need. Now, one of the things that's very important about this is in order for this to work, we need to make sure that this and this have a little bit of a gap. If these are overlapping, let's say you do it by hand and those are overlapping, it'll make it a little harder to build the shape. So it's important to have that. We're going to add one other shape in, which is going to be this area down below. And so we're going to go C, Create, Geometry, and Grid. And we're going to press Enter to place that at the origin. We are going to dive into that, and we're going to make sure that this is set to the XY plane. Size is 0.095, 0.11. And center Y is set to -0.1. So we're essentially is moving that down to this section here. And we're going to go with rows of 7 and columns of 3. And if we could go W on that, we can get a sense. So you see how by bringing it down here, we've got it shaped so it matches that. And then we're just going to have to reshape it a little bit to get that to work. So if we go W, you see how they're blue? So one of the things we do want to do here is we're going to go Tab, Reverse, and put a node down that will essentially take all of those and now. So when they're the darker color there, that means that you're seeing the backside of the polygons. So we want to reverse them because everything else we've got here is facing our way. We want this to be facing our way as well. And if we go back to Wireframe Ghost, we can see through it and then go from there. What we want to do now is we want to do point selection. So what we're going to do is we're going to go 2 for point selection, select these here, and then go T, which is going to move them. And that's going to allow us to go down to here. Then we're going to go this one down to there, and we're going to go this one down to there. Now what we can do with the rest is we can actually do this and go Shift D. So Shift D will be evenly, so Shift E and Shift E. So that allows us to redistribute those nice and evenly. Now once we have that, we can take these and we can press E to go to scale and just bring those in a little bit. And we can do the same thing with this. Scale those in a little bit, and we'll do the same with all of these. Bring those in so that they match the shape that's that we're dealing with here. This is why the advantage of the planned ahead sort of object for tracing is so important. And eventually we're going to merge all these together and we're going to connect those, but this gives us a really good starting point for all of these shapes. So if we go to the object level and we press W, we can see all those shapes there, and we can see the 4 shapes we created right here. So if we select these, we can go to the Modify menu and press Combine, and all of these are merged together. Now, what seems to be happening, well, maybe we wiggle that out and we put that at the bottom, and there we go. So it turns out that everything sort of got flipped a little bit when we did that merge, so we're going to do that to get them to work. The next thing we need to do is get rid of some of the, now when we go down here, they're all just one group of polygons, and we can work with that. But what we need to do is we need to get rid of some of the ones that we just don't need. So let's go select, we're going to press 4 to get faces, and essentially we're going to select this. Okay, so this is where it's a little difficult to do here. So what we're going to do is we're going to set the display here, and we're going to say, let's get rid of these 3. Delete. And that'll get inserted into there. Similarly, we're going to go to this one, and we're going to select this, delete. And similarly, we can set the display on this one. Okay, we won't do that one. On this circle here, and 1, 2, 3, 4, delete. So now when we go down to merge them and reverse them, we've got some gaps in here, and those we're going to fill using Polydraw. But it puts us in a really good shape to start working on this now. So, okay, so the first thing we're going to do is let's just go N, tab Polydraw, and we'll in build mode. We can just do a couple obvious things, like let's snap that one over to there, and let's move this one over more to there. So we're going to get that to be more out there, and make sure that this is here, and then we're going to actually snap that one to there. Okay, so once we have that, we can start to also do things like bring this up to here and go this and snap this to there. Very good. Snap this to here and reach, click and drag to get that, and then snap there, and there we go. Similarly, once we have that, we can do things like, let's take this there, and we can just walk right through this. And then this is where that little gap is important, because what we want is we want this to be connected like that, and this to be connected like that. And there we go. Now we've got a nice, clean, closed shape that has all of those working together. Now, like I said, every time we finish using Polydraw, we want to press Shift Delete in case any points sort of gotten in the way. Let me show you what that means actually. Is if I'm in the build mode, if I click into space, what happens is I get these reference points, and they're reference points that I can, start to build and use as a reference to draw things. They add actual geometry to my model, and that can be problematic later. So Shift Delete says, okay, let's get rid of all of those, and we'll just focus on what we've got. Okay, so let's go spacebar B, select N, 4, N, and it turns out this is right at the origin here, but we sort of need this to be over at the edge here. So we're going to go tab Transform, and that will allow us to Oh, there is an extra point there. Let's get rid of that for a second. Let's go Polydraw, Shift Delete. Okay, so that, okay, so you can accidentally click after you thought you were all set. So let's go to the select tool. I can't do that right now. Let's press N and go Tab Transform. And that puts that. And the reason I knew that point was there was because this handle was sort of floating somewhere in the middle. So I knew there's some extra geometry somewhere over there, which is problematic. Now, we're going to move this to be lined up with there. And then we are going to go take what we have now, and if we go back to the polygon shelf, we can go PolyExtrude. And we are going to push that to just in front of the cylinder there. Now, in this case here, we want to output a back, and we also want to add divisions of 2. So we have some extra extra geometry in there. What we probably want to do now is just tab reverse. Or actually, what we maybe do is maybe we don't need that reverse from before. So let's bypass that. Oh no, because there's a Polydraw after that, so no. Let's go reverse and just add that here. And that puts everything, that's all the normals are faced out the way we want there. Now we're going to go and let's go W, 2 to get point selection. And then what we can do is we can start moving these in to get the shape that we want there. There we go. And those will all go into an edit node that will work from there. So if we go W again, go in perspective mode, we can go spacebar B and go, let's go 4 to go into there. Now what we want to do is let's display this as polywire shaded so we see what the topology is. And what we need to do is we need to add some geometry in here to allow us to extrude part of it out. So we're going to go and press C, Model, Polygons, and Poly Split. And we're going to go from here to here, Enter, and go Q, and go from here to here, and go Enter. Now this puts down 2 nodes in here. We could have used a Polydraw in this situation, but Poly Split can also be used, so we showed that as an alternative. Now once you get that, what we want to do is press 4, and we're going to select this, this, and this. And we're going to again do a polygon PolyExtrude. And this is where we go spacebar B, and we're going to pull that, and we're going to pull that right out to here. And that gives us the shape that we wanted there. And right now we're only going to, we're not going to put any divisions in there. Oh, actually, you know what we're going to do? We're going to pull it to here, and then we're going to go Q, and we're going to pull that one out to here. So we do have a little bit of topology in here that lines up with other things that we're doing. Now, similarly, we want to go into here, and we're going to select 4, this, and go Q. And again, we're going to pull this, and we're going to go all the way out to here, in this case. And then we're going to go switch to 2. We're going to grab these points, and we're going to drag those to align with this. And we might have to do some of the, we probably want these to align as well, and these to align as well, just so it's all one nice straight line, or more or less one straight line. So that gives us those 2 parts in the shape. So now what we want to do is we need to add some edge loops in. So let's go to the select tool. We're going to go polygon edge loop. And where do we want to put edge loops? Well, we want one to be right here at the end of the cylinder, then Q, and we want one to be where this sort of notch is here, and then Q, and then we're going to put one that's sort of like halfway in the middle there, just to help us shape that. Okay. Now, if we go back here, we'll see what that looks like. And we can press 4, and we can select these 6 here and go PolyExtrude. And we're going to raise that up. Now we're going to go up to here, and then we're going to go 2, and we're going to select that, and we're going to go edit that up to here, edit that up to here, edit that up to here. So that gives us the shape that we need there. So if we look at that, we've got, press 4, spacebar B, that's the shape that we built so far out of all of this. Now the next thing we want to do is, we have this little section in here, is we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and we want to go PolyExtrude, and let's do this one, transform extruded front, and we will bring that down. And we're going to go about 0.35. Okay. And there we go. So we've got that, and if we look at our model, see how that fits together with there. And if we were to go up to the object level, we could bring the cylinder in and get a sense of how those things look together. So spacebar B, that's sort of where they are aligned with each other and so on. Okay, so let's call this body and dive in, and we're going to put a tab null node, and we're going to call this body front. Now, this we're not going to hide these nodes at the moment, because we are going to connect this shape in with other things, and so we may need to tinker with these nodes. But for now, that puts us in a pretty good position to finish the first part of the Revolver base. And we can see the ghosted version of the cylinder there if we want, or we can go back up to the object level and hide that if we don't want to see it. So there we go. There's part 2. Next, we're going to work on the back part of the Revolver body.